Ever flexed your arm and really wondered what's going on in there? I mean, how does that actually happen? Today, we're going to do something cool. We're going to shrink down, go inside, and see exactly how a simple thought, like lift this, turns into real physical movement. Let's dive in. Think about it. You decide you want to pick up your phone and you just do it. It feels totally automatic, right? But underneath the surface, it's this incredible biological process. How in the world does a signal from your brain travel all the way down to your bicep and tell it to contract? Well, that's the exact mystery we are solving today. So to really get this, we have to go small. And I don't mean just a little small, I mean microscopic level small. We're going to take a journey deep inside one of your muscles to find the tiny, tiny engines that make everything work. Okay, let's start with something we all know, your bicep. Go ahead, give it a flex. From the outside, it just looks like one solid thing, right? But the real magic is what's packed inside.
If we could look inside that bicep, we'd see it's actually made of all these bundles, kind of like a pack of uncooked spaghetti. Seriously, each one of those single spaghetti strands is what we call a muscle fiber, and these are the actual muscle cells. They're just really, really long.
But we're not stopping there. Let's zoom in again. Inside just one of those muscle fibers, it's jam-packed with thousands of even smaller rods. These are called myofibrils. And these are the parts that do all the heavy lifting, literally. And this, right here, brings us to the star of our show, this sarcomere. If you look at a myofibril, it's just one of these sarcomeres after another, all lined up in a row. You can think of each sarcomere as the single, tiniest engine in your muscle. When millions of these little engines work together, that's what creates movement. So what makes this little engine run? It's basically a two-protein team. First, you've got myosin. Let's call it the puller. It's a thick filament with these little heads that act like hands, just itching to pull on something. And that something is actin, the thin filament. Think of actin as the rope. The entire game of muscle contraction is getting the myosin puller to grab and yank on that actin rope. But of course, these little engines don't just start up on their own. They need a command. They need a spark to get them going. And that spark, well, it comes all the way from your nervous system. So how does that spark get from the nerve to the muscle? Okay, stick with me. First, a signal zips down a nerve right to your muscle. When it gets there, the nerve releases a special chemical messenger. This messenger works like a key, opening up all these little gates on the muscle's surface. And when those gates fly open, sodium rushes in, creating this awesome electrical wave that spreads across the entire muscle cell, kind of like doing the wave at a stadium. Now, that electrical wave is absolutely crucial because its main job is to release the real key that's going to unlock the muscle's engine. And that final, ultimate key is calcium. So as that electrical wave sweeps across the muscle cell, it passes over these special storage tanks that are just full to the brim with calcium ions. The wave is basically a command, telling these tanks, the fancy name is the sarcoplasmic reticulum, to open up and completely flood the cell with calcium. I really want this to sink in. If you forget everything else, just remember this. Calcium is the on switch. It's the final go-ahead. Without it, your muscles can't contract no matter how much you want them to. It is the absolute key that unlocks all the machinery. Okay. The signal has been sent, the calcium key has been released. Now it is time for the main event, the molecular tug-of-war that actually makes your muscles shorten and contract. So check this out. When your muscle is just relaxed, our actin rope has a problem. The exact spots where the myosin puller wants to grab on are covered up. They're blocked by this long chain called tropomyosin, and that chain is held in place by a little protein that acts like a lock called troponin. So the myosin hands are right there, they want to grab on, but they just can't. They're blocked. But here comes our hero, calcium. All that calcium that just flooded the cell finds those little troponin locks and binds right onto them. The second it does, it's like turning a key in a lock. It forces that troponin molecule to completely change its shape. And this is the magic moment. As that troponin lock changes shape, it physically yanks that tropomyosin chain right out of the way. And suddenly, all the landing zones on the actin rope are exposed. It's a green light. Now, finally, the myosin puller can reach out and grab on. This kicks off a little four-step dance that happens over and over, super fast. First, the myosin head attaches to the actin. Second, it pulls. This is the power stroke, where it pivots and yanks the actin rope forward. Third, a new bit of energy, a molecule called ATP, comes in and forces the myosin head to release the rope.
And finally, it resets, ready to grab a new spot further down the rope and pull all over again.
So what's the result of all this frantic pulling? Well, look at this. On the left, in a relaxed muscle, the ends of the sarcomere, those Z-lines, are pretty far apart. But on the right, after all those myosin heads have pulled the actin ropes inward, you can see the Z-lines are way closer together. The entire engine, the sarcomere, has gotten shorter. And when millions of these shorten all at once, the whole muscle contracts. Okay, I know that was a deep dive into the tiny stuff, but why does it matter? Well, because understanding this little mechanism helps explain something really big. Why some people are just naturally built for sprinting and others are built for running marathons. It all comes down to the types of muscle fibers we have. We basically have two main types of these muscle fibers. You've got your type 1 or slow twitch. These guys contract slowly, but they are super resistant to getting tired. They use oxygen and can just go all day. Then you have the type 2B or fast twitch. These contract incredibly quickly and with a ton of force, but they get tired really, really fast. And this slide just makes it crystal clear. Endurance athletes like marathon runners have a ton of those slow twitch fibers. They're perfect for going long distances without burning out. Power athletes, on the other hand, like sprinters, have a higher percentage of fast twitch fibers. That's where they get that explosive speed and strength from, but it only lasts for a short burst. So there you have it. From a single nerve signal to a flood of calcium to a tiny molecular tug of war repeated millions and millions of times. That's how your muscles work. Your body has this incredible mix of machinery inside it, all ready to go. The only real question left is, what will you choose to do with it?